This is the biggest oil shock the world has seen since 1970s. Oil prices shot from about $50 to as high as $120. And that's because the United States launched a complete war over Iran. And if this war continues, then the world will be ripped off of 20% of the global supply of oil. So if you do mathematically, you know that there will be a huge shortage of oil, which is why oil prices skyrocketed this much. But if you look at oil prices, there is a massive crash in oil prices. So what exactly has happened over the last 24 hours that oil prices went down from almost as high as $120 to as low as $88? And will oil prices continue falling down, or this is a temporary situation and oil prices will go back to $120, maybe $200 per barrel? Now, to understand that, we simply have to understand how oil prices work. Most people have no idea who exactly determines oil prices. People just assume that oil prices rise suddenly because over the last week, everybody suddenly started buying oil. Now, what you need to understand about the markets is that there is how the market is operating today, and then there is another thing that is called market expectations. And these two things are completely different. It doesn't actually matter what is happening to the market today. Just because there is a war in Middle East, it doesn't mean that there is an instant shortage of oil in the market. There is still plenty of oil, and it doesn't actually change the dynamic of the market. What it changes is about what is going to happen a few months from now. So if this war goes on, let's say for 3 to 6 months, suddenly there is going to be a huge shortage of oil in the market. And that's why investors are buying oil today, not because they don't have oil today, but rather they expect there is going to be a shortage of oil. So if you want to understand what is happening to the prices today, you have to understand what investors believe is going to happen in the future. And that is why market expectation is far more important than what is happening in the market today. And there are a lot of industries that very heavily depend on oil. So if you look at the automotive, aviation, manufacturing, can you possibly drive your car if you don't have oil? Well, of course not. So all these gas stations are massively buying oil. You can't be flying planes without oil. You can't be shipping stuff around the world without oil. The agriculture industry really depends on oil, construction, and I haven't even talked about the defense industry. So fundamentally, even though that oil as a result of the total GDP does not represent a huge amount, but it runs the global economy. Because if we suddenly get rid of oil, we can't be even building Tesla cars that does not run on oil, but rather are electric. And here's where Wall Street comes into the picture. Wall Street understands that. In fact, Wall Street makes money because they understand that people are afraid. They manipulate the market because they know that most people are doing real businesses, and Wall Street is sitting down there. They're not actually producing anything. They're not manufacturing anything. All they're doing is that they're speculating on the price of a commodity. So imagine you are a Wall Street banker or a hedge fund manager, and you're sitting down in Wall Street and you're thinking, oh, there is a war in Iran. What does that mean? It means unpredictability about the future. So as a Wall Street, how am I going to make money out of it? Now, that war instantly creates a fear for the aviation industry. So aviation industry wants to secure a smaller or a lower price of oil today so that if this war continues, they won't be paying $200 per barrel. So what they will do is that they will be buying futures. A future is basically a contract that says that I'm going to buy a certain amount of oil at a specific price at a certain time in the future. So that could be 30 days from now or 60 days from now. And a future contract is very important in the global economy is because from the time that oil is extracted, let's say from Saudi Arabia, and then it is refined and then shipped to the other parts of the world, let's say the United States, it is going to take some time. It is not going to happen overnight. So a future contract allows this transaction to happen because it secures the price for the aviation company, and it also secures the price and the demand for the oil extracting company because they're extracting oil and they know that they have a client. But here's the problem, is that in the financial markets, everybody can buy these future contracts. I can buy these future contracts. A hedge fund manager can buy the future contracts. You can do that. So if there is a lot of fear in the market that there is going to be a shortage of oil in the market, what do you think all these aviation companies are doing? They are buying a lot of futures, securing the price of oil before the price jumps to $200. And if I'm a hedge fund manager in Wall Street, I don't need that oil. I couldn't care less about that oil. All I want is to make as much money as possible. So just like the aviation industry, I know that they will need a lot of oil. I will be buying a lot of futures, securing the price of oil, let's say at, I don't know, like $60 or $70. So because I'm buying so much futures, the price of oil is rising. So there is a fear in the market, everybody is buying futures, and Wall Street is buying even more futures, reinforcing the demand for the price, and the price of oil is rising dramatically, way faster than it's supposed to. But now suddenly we have news that G7 countries are going to release a portion of their strategic reserves into the market. A lot of countries understand that oil is literally the bloodline of their economies. Without oil, there is no manufacturing. Without oil, there are no cars. So countries hold a lot of oil in strategic reserves just in case if something happens. And G7 countries, which are the United States, Japan, the UK, or the 7 leading global economies, hold about 1.4 billion barrels. And that is enough for more than 100 days of the oil consumption that these countries have today. And also, there is another extra 600 million barrels that is being held by private companies. So that is more than 2 billion barrels. So G7 countries told us that we might be releasing some of its oil to the market in order to release the shock and give the market some time to adjust. What message does that send to the aviation industry? That, wait a second, why would I overpay for oil today if these countries are going to release billions of barrels of oil into the market, which is going to oversupply the market, which is why now the aviation industry or the aviation companies are no longer buying the futures. When you're buying a future, you're not actually putting the entire money. When you're buying a future, all you do is you put a small margin. That is usually 5 to 8%. So if I'm buying oil for $100, I don't have to pay $100. All I have to do is just pay $5 and I will secure the price for $100. Now suddenly, because of this news, all these companies are no longer afraid because this is enough for the next couple of months. And in 2 to 3 months from now, maybe the war is going to be over. Maybe they will find another way to supply the market with oil. Maybe there will be some development. So why would we be overpaying $200 per barrel? The second reason is that China also has a lot of strategic reserves, which is about 1.2 billion barrels. And that is enough to sustain the Chinese economy for 115 days. So if all of this oil suddenly will be thrown into the market, you know that there won't be any shortage. And also, the Trump administration and Trump himself personally said that we might be removing sanctions from Russia. Russia is one of the largest producers of oil in the world. In fact, it is the third. It produces as much oil as Saudi Arabia. So if we're lifting the sanctions from Russia and suddenly the Russian oil is going to hit the market, it is entirely going to replace Saudi Arabia, which means that there isn't going to be as much shortage of oil as we thought initially, which means that by the time the Russian oil is going to hit the market, let's say it's a month from now or a couple of weeks from now, the strategic reserves will keep the market supplied with oil. What situation or what dynamic this creates in the market? Now, suddenly, there is a lot less fear. Suddenly, the aviation companies or the gas stations or the manufacturing companies are no longer ready to overpay for oil. That means that there are a lot less demand for futures of oil, which means that the price is going to go down. So the initial increase in the price of oil was primarily because there was a shock in the market and everybody thought that there isn't going to be enough oil in the market. But here's a more important question. Will oil prices keep falling down or they will be rising? You have to understand that this is a temporary solution to the market because they have released the fear out of the market by releasing the news that there is a lot of strategic reserves that is left and they will lift the sanctions out of Russia. Now, if the Russian oil is going to hit the market, obviously that is going to solve the problem. But believing that oil prices will go down to as low as $50 if this war is not going to be resolved is going to be foolish, because as long as this war continues, there is going to be a shortage of oil. Even if they divert the oil and they will transport it, for example, through the Red Sea, which is much more safer than the Strait of Hormuz, it is not actually a solution because Iran could keep hitting the oil refineries across the Persian Gulf, which means that there will be a shortage of oil in the market anyways. But Wall Street doesn't care, because the moment there was some fear in the market, they have actually made plenty of money buying a lot of futures. They probably have made billions of dollars out of this transaction. And that's what happens when you understand how the financial market works. This war is a massive transfer of wealth from one group of people to another. Whether this is going to be through oil prices or the stock market or Bitcoin, it is going to happen from the people who don't understand how the stock market works, from the people who don't understand how the market works, to the people who have actually mastered investing and mastered the stock market and the markets in general. So the question comes back to you. Are you making money out of this crisis? Have you positioned yourself correctly? Will you use this opportunity to make millions of dollars out of this crisis? Or you will end up much poorer than when the crisis started. So if you want a step-by-step guide on how you could be making millions of dollars out of this crisis, then check out the Investing Academy, because there I have laid down a step-by-step strategy on how you can do that and what are the top investments that you should be buying right now so that you make millions of dollars when the crisis is over.